Hey everybody, how are you all? I hope everything is fine. In today's video session, I'm going to discuss about the exogenetic processes part 2. Okay, so we have already discussed the different weathering processes under these exogenetic processes. Okay, and we have also discussed what is erosion. In today's video session, we are going to discuss about the erosion because of different mechanical or physical agents like flowing water, blowing wind, or sliding glacier, and all these things. Okay, so let's have the clear understanding about all these exogenetic processes and landform made because of its erosional forces like deposition, transportation, or the erosion or degradation. Okay, so let's see. Before moving ahead, let's have some overview of the previous session. So we have already discussed the denudational forces, also known as degradational forces. So in that we have seen mainly two major processes. One is weathering process, one is erosion process. Okay, under weathering process we have already seen the physical weathering or mechanical weathering, second one chemical weathering, third one biological weathering. In today's video session we are going to discuss about the different landforms made by erosion process and different erosional agents also. Okay, exogenetic processes. So we have learned in the previous lesson that earth surface wear away because of erosion and some weathering processes also like mechanical weathering, chemical weathering, and physical weathering. The eroded material gets carried away by agents. What do you mean by these agents? They are different physical parameters like water, wind, or the glacial ice, we can say. Okay, when the speed of agents reduces, material get deposited. Okay, so remember this thing. When deposition taking place, when the speed of that particular agent is more than what happened, the erosion taking place, removal of material taking place, and transportation of that material from one place to another place is taking place. And when speed of such a agents reduces, then material gets deposited. Okay guys, so these agents like running water of river, glaciers, wind, sea waves, and groundwater do the work of erosion, transportation, and deposition. Remember the names of these different agents. So river, running water of river, glaciers, wind, sea waves, then groundwater. So all these things works as different mechanical or physical agent. Okay, so what they used to do? They used to do erosion, then transportation, and deposition. Remember these three words. There are different landforms formed because of this erosion, transportation, and deposition process. Okay, so let's see. Because of these agents, the earth surface keep on undergoing changes and new landforms are formed. We will study some of these landform in this particular lesson. Okay, the work of river and its landform. So let's see. So before that you have to answer few questions. So how will you differentiate between the gully, rills, stream, and river? So have you heard these words? When there is a precipitation, water moves from higher altitude to lower altitude, means from mountainous region to towards the ground or a plain region. So when water trying to flow from this mountainous region, it forms these different erosional landforms like reel, gully, stream, and river. So what is a reel? It is narrow channels or narrow grooves, narrow cavities formed by the flowing water because of removal of soil layer. When that reels get broaden up and deepen, then it is known as gullies. When the water from different gullies come together, it is known as stream. And when different streams come together, then it forms a river. So remember the difference between all these things. So reel and gully, they are the very small water channels. Stream is somewhat smaller than this river, and when different streams comes together, it forms river. What is a river? I have already told you. Let's see the geographical explanation. So running water flows naturally in direction according to the gravity along the slope and makes its own way. This is called as flow of water. Remember this thing. Because of gravity, when water get accumulated and when it flows in channelized manner, then it is known as flow of water. And when such a channels or such a streams come together, then is known as the river. Okay, so remember the definition of river over here. The slope of the land, the type of rock, volume of water flowing in the river, and length of that particular flow, volume of sediments carried by that river are the factors on which erosional, transportational and depositional work of that river is depends on. So there might be question in your mind that how this erosional, transportational and depositional work of a river taking place, how some rivers they only do erosional landform but not forming transportational landform, or some rivers form depositional landform like deltas, some are not forming deltas, so why it is. So we are going to see all these things in subsequent sections. So let's move ahead. The erosional work of river. So how river does this particular erosional work, let's see this first. The rivers originate at much higher altitude from a sea level. Here the river flows at a great speed and therefore its power to erode is very great. Means what? When river flowing from mountainous region or the different mountain ranges, so their slope of that particular terrain is very steep, very high, and because of that the flow of water, the speed of that particular flow is very high and it erode out the more part of that particular rock structure, and that's why we can say that the power of erosion is great in that particular region. Okay, so riverbed and the river banks are eroded because of the fast flow of water, sand particles and pebbles which is flowing along with that river water. Okay, that's why what happened, because of this sand particle and pebble which river water carries, it eroded out the river bed and the bank of river. Okay, all these leads to the formation of gorges or canyons, V-shaped valleys and waterfalls. Okay, then the transportation and deposition by the rivers. Okay, so how river does this particular work, transportational work and depositional work? Let's see. River flows down the slope from hilly region. At the foothills, the changes in slope causes deposition of coarse sediment. What do you mean by this coarse sediment? It is somewhat bigger size sediments. Coarse means the somewhat bigger size sediments. So when river comes from mountainous region or hilly region and when it's enter into plain region, near the foothills of that particular region, river used to deposit the sediment like this. Here you can able to observe the sediments. River is coming from this mountainous region and here it is depositing the coarse sediment. Okay, the pebbles, the big boulders and all this thing, as this deposited in a triangular shape, it is known as alluvial fan. So in the same image you can able to see the triangular shape over here like this. Okay, and as it looks like a fan, so it is known as alluvial fan. Alluvial means what? The deposition or the sediment carried by river is known as alluvial, and this alluvial makes a triangular shape, so that's why such a landform is known as alluvial form. As the steepness of slope decreases and transportation capacity of river reduces, it start flowing slowly. Okay, so steepness means what? The slope of that particular terrain. So when river enters into plain region, then you know that the plane have very gentle slope, it is not very steep, so steepness is reduces and therefore transportation capacity of the river is reduces. It start flowing slowly, it bends, means it meanders often in its way in an effort to cross even small obstacle. By the time the river reaches the sea, its riverbed becomes a very wide and its speed becomes very slow. The sediments of the river get deposited in the bed and on its bank. The factors that determine the deposition of sediments are length of river, volume of water, amount of sediment, the slope of the river, and earth surface. River and earth surface both. Thus, landforms like flood levees, flood plains, deltas are formed because of deposition of these sediments. Okay, so here I am going to explain each and every term. So pay attention over here. So while flowing in plain area, what happen? The steepness of the steepness or the slope of that particular terrain is decreases. Okay, and because of this reduced steepness, the capacity, transporting capacity of river also reduces. Why? Because there is no slope, that's why the flow of water is slow, and if flow of water is slow, then it can't able to transport large size alluvials or the coarse sediments from one place to another place. Suppose there is one rock over here like this. Okay, so what happened? River water can't take away this particular rock along with its flow. Okay, so what happened? River water change its direction and try to flows bypassing that particular rock or the obstacle which is there in between the path of that particular river, and its form meander like this. Here you can able to observe the meander shape like this. Okay, so this semicircular shape is known as meander, and when this semicircular shape it widens up and it forms a semicircle like this. So one point comes when the two ends of this particular meander get connected to each other, and during monsoon what happen, when flow of that river or the volume of the water in that river bed is increasing, then river break this particular link over here and it flows like this during monsoon. Okay, or during flood situation river flows like this because river break this particular bank and it directly enters into this place. Okay, so remember this thing. So what happens here, during monsoon river flows directly like this. Okay, it is not going to do all this journey. Okay, so this is known as meander, and when river flows like this it used to deposit sediment again here like this. So this meander get detached, okay, from the main course of river, and the lake formation take place. Lake formation of this shape taking place, it is known as oxbow lake. Okay, because it is looks like oxbow. Ox means what, bull, उसके पैर में जो ठोकते हैं, देखो लोहे का होता है उसे बोलते हैं ऑक्सबो. So it's look like that, that's why it is known as oxbow lake. It is formed because of meandering of river, so it is a depositional feature of that particular river. We can say both depositional and erosional, because initially because of erosion meander taking place, meander formation taking place, and because of deposition that meander get separated from the main course of river and this oxbow lakes formation taking place. So it is a rivers, both the depositional and erosional work of river. Behind this formation of depositional and erosional landform, what factors responsible? The sediments, deposition of sediments are because of the length of river. If length is more, then the river forms more landforms, different kinds of landform. Volume of water, it also affect the formation of landform. Amount of sediment definitely affects the formation of landform. Then slope of the river and the earth surface, we have already discussed this term. The landforms like flood levees, flood plains, and deltas are formed. Okay, because of this depositional work. Remember here. So here you can able to see the flood levees. Here, this one and this one. The hill-like structure near the river bank, it is known as flood levees. So it is formed because of the depositional work, and during the flood the river water cross these levees. Okay, river water breaks these levees and it expands in this particular region. Okay, so like this, that water spread over here, and after removal of this water after monsoon season, whatever sediments it carry, it used to deposit that sediments in this particular region, and it is known as floodplain. Okay, and this floodplain is very useful for agricultural activity because it have many different minerals and useful products which is act as a nutrition for a different type of crops. Remember this thing. So in this way we have discussed the depositional feature and the transportational feature of river, also the erosional feature, but we have not discussed in depth. So let's discuss the gorges, v-shaped valleys, and waterfalls. So here you can able to see the gorges or canyons. What it is exactly, if there is a very hard rock and soft rock structure in between the river course, then what happen, river will erode out the soft rock in tremendous manner. Okay, and because of that erosion of soft rock, the hard rock cliffs form like this. The vertical cliffs of hard rock you can able to observe, and the soft rock get eroded away, and because of that you can able to observe these canyons. It is somewhat u shape. Here you can able to observe. So you might have heard about the Narmada Great Canyon or the Great Colorado Canyon of USA. So they are the best example of canyon, also known as gorges. Okay, remember this thing. Then we have the v-shaped valleys. How these v-shaped valleys form, here you can able to observe. This is a erosional work. Okay, when river flows from mountainous region, the slope is very steep, okay, and because of that flow of water is very high, its speed is very high. That's why it used to erode out its bed in this format, in this v shape. And you can able to find this v shape valleys in mountainous region, okay. So because of depositional work, v shape valleys form. Here you can able to see the deltas. Here, this is satellite image actually. Here you can see the main course of water in somewhat whitish portion. Here, because of deposition on its bed itself, the water channel separated out here, like this one. Here another one, you can able to observe this one. Here is another one. So it is known as distributaries. You know the tributaries of river, when near the river origin, okay, different tributaries come together and they form a big water flow known as river. And when that river near its mouth, it form distributaries like this, because of deposition within its bed or within the its flow, okay. So that's why these distributaries get formed, and you can able to observe this delta region in different parts of India. Like all east flowing river in India, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, Mahanadi, they all used to form deltas, okay. Remember this thing. So in this way we have discussed the erosional, depositional and transportational landforms of river. Here you can able to observe the floodplains and the flood levees. These are the flood levees, and here this entire thing is floodplains. Here you can able to see the agriculture tract or different agricultural activities, okay. So in this way we have seen these landforms made by river or because of the river water. So it is divided into erosional, depositional and transportational, okay. Many creeks are found near coastal areas, okay, of Konkan, but no deltas form. Why? So you have to answer this question. I will answer the reason for this particular question in our next session, but try to find out the answer behind this. Why the rivers which are flowing from Konkan area, they form creeks and not form deltas? You have to answer this, okay. Try to find the answer. The next one, is there any lake formed near the meander of a river? Obtain information about this. So there are many oxbow lake you can able to find in the northern Indian plains because of river Ganga, Yamuna, okay, and their tributaries, okay, distributaries, sorry, not tributaries. So because of that you can able to find the different oxbow lake or the meandering lakes because of meandering process, okay. So in this way we have completed the first part of this particular chapter. So guys, comment if you have any queries. Do like this session, share with your friends, and do subscribe our YouTube channel so you will get the notifications of upcoming video session, okay. So have a nice day guys, thank you.